In the last few weeks, 343 Industries have come under scrutiny from a large amount of the Halo community, following the recent news that Infinite won't launch a co-op, forge, and a progression system outside of its Battle Pass. And despite us thinking that this is a big deal, this may not be as large of an issue as once thought. As we know, when it comes to FPS titles, the main competition for Halo this holiday is Call of Duty Vanguard and Battlefield 2042, the two giants of the FPS genre. But despite their size and mass appeal, both of these games could come under criticism when released. So, without further ado, let's tell you why Halo could still be the best shooter this holiday.
So, starting with Battlefield 2042, the main issue this game faces is a delay of 4 weeks for supposed minor bug fixes. Now, we can't stress this enough, we don't think there's anything wrong with delaying your game. Honestly, we wish 343 would do this for Halo Infinite to incorporate co-op campaign and Forge at launch. However, this could be somewhat concerning due to the sheer number of developers which have worked on 2042. DICE, Ripple Effect, EA Gothenburg, Industrial Toys, and Criterion have all played a role in this game's development. You would think with this much manpower, this game should be fully complete. Though this delay obviously doesn't mean the game will be a failure or anything like that, but you do have to wonder whether this is an example of too many cooks spoiling the game. Also, a delay before the release of a beta is somewhat odd, as players are still yet to get a hands-on experience with the game. There's a lot of unknown variables as to how good or bad the state of the game actually is at the moment. If the beta shows there is more that needs to be changed other than the minor bugs EA have mentioned, then this game could be in some serious trouble. The short time frame of the delay is also a concern, as not much can be changed in just 4 weeks, especially with a development team of this scale. Despite this, 2042 is still likely to be the most complete game of all the 3 titles at launch. DICE's recent track record with the last 2 titles isn't great either. Star Wars Battlefront 2 was a microtransaction disaster, and the game almost single-handedly stopped the use of loot boxes in the industry. And then there's also Battlefield 5, where when people complained about the historical inaccuracies, they just told them that if they don't like it, don't buy it. Great plan.
So starting off with Call of Duty Vanguard, we just want to address the Activision situation. Obviously, if you want to learn about it, this isn't the video for that. But just make a little note that obviously when your head publisher is in a lawsuit battle with a state in America, there probably is some issues there that need to be kinked out which are going to affect the game. Despite that, the development cycle for this game has been dreadful. They needed an extra year and help from Treyarch to make this game possible, because originally this was meant to come out before Cold War, and obviously it didn't. And this probably explains why Cold War was in such a bad state when it launched. Obviously, lots of cutscenes didn't work, various features. Again, go watch other videos if you're interested as to what was wrong with it, but the game was not in a good state. Not to mention that as a developer, Sledgehammer is completely unproven when it comes to Call of Duty. Both of their prior Call of Duties, that being Advanced Warfare and Call of Duty World War II, were lackluster at best, shall we say. I think Advanced Warfare was mainly just sort of a forgettable experience, and World War II was just flat out shit, to be honest. But obviously these are previous iterations, but they do sort of pave the way as to what could happen. Speaking about what is happening in this game, however, the beta. My god, I don't think I've seen a worse beta for a long time. There is so many issues that players have experienced, so many game-breaking bugs, which definitely can't be fixed in the time before release. I mean, ourselves, we've played it, and it literally broke our console midstream, so we had to restart the whole game. Like, it was that fucked, it broke a Series X, the next generation of consoles, which should be able to run anything in theory. Other issues we noticed when we were actually able to run the beta was that they appeared to be making similar mistakes to Battlefield, in the sense that there is really unrealistic setups for the game. So, for example, everybody in this World War II era shooter seems to have some sort of red dot sight, which is insane. It feels like a knockoff Wolfenstein. It's really bizarre. Like, if you were to say this was in like a parallel universe, World War II, this could be really cool, but it just doesn't suit the style that they're going for. Other little nitpicks were that you didn't actually have like the British versus the Japanese or the Germans versus the Americans. It was my team against enemy team, which felt really weird. It was such an odd, like, such an easily fixable thing. Just make it so it's accurate. It doesn't seem that hard. Also, another thing to just point out, if you've played any Call of Duty since Modern Warfare 2019, you've pretty much played this game. It's just got different guns. The gunplay felt so copy and paste. The actual menu itself is physically identical. Same with the progression system of weapons and like leveling them up, adding their attachments, which again is a very good system. So these are very nitpicky complaints, but it would be cool to see a little bit of innovation within this game. That being said, this is Call of Duty, so what do you expect? It's been copy and pasted for like the last 12 years.
So what is there that gives Halo a chance against these two giants? The main way Halo Infinite stands out against these two behemoths is the fact that it's free to play for the multiplayer, which while certainly is not the first title to do so, it's one of the first large FPS arena titles to do so. So while for Halo you could just download and play, both COD and Battlefield expect you to pay £60, €, whatever, just to play the standard last gen edition. You then have to pay even more if you want to upgrade to a next gen edition or actually get all the content, and it comes out to like around $100. While Infinite's last fighting had issues, it did take place much earlier than COD beta, and it also had a lot less issues than what we're seeing with Vanguard. We've also yet to see any beta for Battlefield 2042, which means there's even less time for changes to be implemented before launch. Infinite's fighting is also much more focused on improving the game rather than promoting the game, so more changes are likely to be seen between now and release.
It's also worth noting that while Infinite's development has certainly been troublesome, Call of Duty's has been horrific. As we said earlier, Treyarch have had to go in and save Sledgehammer for Vanguard, giving them an extra year of development, helping them develop a zombies mode, and so on. This has essentially prevented this game from sinking altogether. And while this extra year has certainly helped improve the game, COVID restrictions have prevented a full year's progress being made, as they would do. From what we've seen personally and online, it is safe to say that this game probably does still need like another 6 months of development. But there is no way that Activision would refuse to put a Call of Duty on the shelves this Christmas, as Call of Duty has always been an annual release. Speaking of annual releases, it is worth noting that Halo is obviously not in this bracket. Its expected lifespan is much longer than any of the other franchises that we've mentioned. As we said earlier, Call of Duty obviously release every year, and Battlefield are certainly not going to wait 10 years before they release another game. This is a double-edged sword for Halo though, as although players' unlocks and progression is going to stay for years to come, they also aren't going to get to experience a brand new game or any hype that comes with a new release. I think it's fair to say that this hype for Infinite has been insane, despite all of the information that could be seen as negative.
But while Halo certainly has a lot going for it this holiday, there are still some things that we could find troubling. First of all, Infinite won't be launching with all its key features such as Forge and Co-op. While the game could certainly survive lacking these things, it means there won't be much content there at launch, and for the first 6 months, all the new content will be for these core features rather than new, more innovative items. And while these items missing isn't great for Infinite, COD and Battlefield won't feature these modes at all, so no one will be playing COD over Infinite for Co-op campaign. With both Halo and Free for Free being owned by Microsoft, it is an obvious decision that Microsoft will make to not put the game on PlayStation. And while this will likely mean more profit for Microsoft in the long term, it does also mean that Halo will not reach as wide an audience as Battlefield or COD. In a similar state to COD this year, Halo is being developed by a studio that, despite developing Halo for almost a decade now, is still unproven when it comes to the FPS titles. And they are competing against DICE who, while having some horrific blunders recently, have had a large array of impressive games and are certainly capable of creating masterpieces, provided EA doesn't get too greedy.
Despite what we have said, if we are taking the Halo rose-tinted glasses off for a second, the game in the best shape, as of recording anyway, is Battlefield 2042. Granted, we're yet to see a beta, but all signs suggest that this minimal delay is purely down to small bug fixes and polishing the game before it's launched. I think like many of you watching, we obviously all want Halo Infinite to be as successful as it can possibly be, and we hope that we've given a little bit of confidence to some people that were slightly upset with the fact that there's a lot of aspects of this game not coming at launch, which we thought should be. Basically, if you want to take one thing away from this video, the competition ain't doing too great either. That's what we want you to sort of take away from this. But yeah, thank you guys ever so much for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe and all that good stuff. That'd be really helpful. And we'll see you guys in the next one.